Alright, guys, so today we're going to talk about Hellfire in Brimstone. Remember WWE wrestler Kane? Glenn Jacobs, big, strong motherfucker. The only guy, if you noticed, um, against the two titans, physically at least, of the WWE, of the WWF. Whichever. I mean, I'm old school. I just say WWF because where life fund is gay. I'd rather Vince McMahon's company, or I don't know if he still owns it, or I think a Saudi Arabian MMA thing. They had, I recently saw Taker and some podcast or something. I mean, Taker and McMahon were, uh, in Saudi, and I think they had a merger or something. So I don't know who owns it or what it is. I think he sold it, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Uh, but yeah, the two titans physically, the Big Show. Can't argue with that, huh? 500-pound monster. I mean, he's lost weight though, which keep. I mean, we're going to talk about this, and there's going to be a lot of random thoughts during this, not interview, during this, whatever you want to call it, video, podcast, show, whatever. But it's almost like a show, eh? I mean, I walk down the street, it's like a walking, talking advertisement, But Big Show and, of course, the great Khali, who was even bigger, from India. Big Show from, obviously. And, what's funny, and let me just say this before I forget it, a lot of these fat fuckers, they all talk about, you have people, all these trolls, we all know the most recent one. I'm big but not fat. I mean, he pulls his pants up to hide the lower belly fat and all that. Dude, you look at The Rock. You can't argue with his results. You look at The Big Show. You can't argue with his results. You can't argue with mine either. I mean, these guys. Okay, in the WWE, there was a business reason for them being huge and muscular, but The Big Show has repeatedly come out and said he's lost weight because he needed to for health issues, okay? The Rock didn't really have any health issues that I have read of or heard, but he did it. You look at The Rock now. You look at Batista now. Dave Batista. I mean, these guys are all going for the X shape because this is what I keep saying on my website. That's what. And it's not just women. Women obviously love that. Women are not into, these huge gym muscles and all this other crap. We'll do it. That crap. That's, this is not, I mean, that to a woman, when she sees you doing that, or, if you got gay photos of you doing push-ups, your profile picture on your social media and all that, unless it's a sexy one, like my back pose and, those things. Nobody cares. They just look gay. I mean, but these guys are all going for the X shape. The Rock, I mean, Batista, all these guys, they keep getting criticized and they keep making more money, for that. But, they lost their muscle or whatever, but they didn't lose their muscle. They lost the bloat they had. In the WWE, there was a reason. McMahon likes big guys. That's just what it is. And plus, people pay to watch it. That's smart business. But, people pay to watch massive men fighting against each other, basically, but it is real. Those moves are real. When you get fucking, some dude picks you up like this. I mean, I've had it done on cement, so I know. It hurts. And these guys do it day in and day out. I mean, I don't agree with a lot of political views and stuff. A lot of these, ex-wrestlers, like Mick Foley, I am completely opposed to his political viewpoint. I believe he's completely anti-Trump. But you gotta respect that guy, man. I mean, Taker throws you off of a fucking steel cage onto a bed of spikes. That's real. I mean, I still remember this idiot that walked up to one of these guys during an interview, and it was like, and he said but it's fake. And that was, 1990s, no politically correct bullshit. I think it was Vader. I can't remember. Big guy, 6'8", and I mean, he almost punched him. I believe Taker had to sort of stop him. Taker, always intelligent, and I mean, I'm sure he was too. But I mean, if I was a WWE wrestler putting my fucking body on the line, I'd fucking slap the shit out of him too. I mean, you don't say that. You gotta respect. But this, I mean, okay, so I went off on a tangent there about WWE and all that. But Hellfire and Brimstone if you look at the WWE, it's actually a perfect example of what people want, which is why it's so successful. Why was Steve Austin so successful? Rebellious anti-hero, working man's, that wasn't scared to challenge authority. Then you have sexy boy Habib Lecter, or Shawn Michaels, let's just say Shawn Michaels, that was the sex aspect. Then you had these monsters, the psycho sorts like Psycho Sid, and people like that stuff. That's real. In this politically correct world we live in, nobody wants to talk about those things, but these things, power and control, everybody wants it. They just don't admit it. Anyway, that's not really the point of this. Some people will call it a diet trib, but you guys, if you're saying that, you're a fucking idiot because you don't understand the B of business. My reason for making this, and again, it's been another one of those nights where, finally last night I thought, I was doing a lot of business-related stuff. 2 a.m., I get to bed at 2 a.m. and I'm like, maybe tonight I'll sleep after 3 days. And I did sleep, and I, exhausted. But every 2 hours I'm waking up with these vivid dreams. And I wish I could tell you, man, they were brutal. But I'll tell you, one little guy, little Ben, maybe? I don't know. Nah, not really Ben, don't worry. But dreams are figurative. They're very, and the person, like complex individual like me, like Dr. Habib Lecter, you gotta really, I can't analyze my own fucking dreams, and I'm far better than most of y'all at it. But, I have to literally think for an hour about why I dreamt a certain aspect, what that signifies, symbolizes, and it always comes true. It just did a couple of minutes ago. I'm not going to get into that. That was a business thing. But, there was this little guy, and, he was constantly trying to, I was the boss, or I was in a figure of authority, in a position of authority, figure of authority. He was challenging it, not really succeeding, but trying to. Well, some sort of trying, and basically what happened is then later on during the dream, somebody picked him up and simply threw him against the table, and the next image I saw was blood dripping gratuitously off of his lips. It was literally, it was, Cobra style. It was literally, I woke up, I had to write it down, and then I look at the time, I'm like, I just slept 2 hours, and, then 2 more hours later, I slept, I woke up again, and so when I do sleep, it's like that. I'm a complete psycho, man, by default, and, you gotta be that, and this is my whole point of this video. I keep saying, to succeed at any meaningful level, you have to be completely psychopathic, you have to block everything else out. People have the wrong notions about success. Let me be very honest. They keep selling you this thing of hard work. Now, that's true. You have to work extremely hard. You have to work 18 hours a day, 14 hours a day. You look at Elon Musk. People are all criticizing him for being, the richest man on the planet. It's like, why doesn't he give his money away? Why the fuck should he? This motherfucker sleeps on the factory floor. He's worth $500 billion plus a lot more. He could buy, along with Jeff Bezos, half the world, and he doesn't even own a house. And he works 18 hours a day, and you lunatics, you liberals, you poor fuckers are complaining about his money and that he should give it away. I mean, I'm sure he does plenty of charity. People that do charity, really, like I do a certain amount of it, we don't talk about it. You won't find one statement anywhere I've made about detailing the specifics of the work I have done in that regard. You won't find it. Because, that would defeat the very purpose of me doing it. I mean, you don't brag about everything. I mean, I brag about myself because I deserve to. I brag, we covered that, fitness and the other things, but, you don't have to, if you're genuinely helping someone, you don't have to, say, you're doing it. You just do it and but the hellfire and brimstone is what people don't talk about. Extreme amounts. Look, any great victory, and we'll talk fitness in a minute, because I know that's why, that's the easiest. Again, fitness is the easiest thing to do. If you can be a naturally fit and sexy guy, money just flows. And if you're truly aligned with your purpose, and if you're truly, psychopathic about what you're doing, and you manage to literally look at Dr. Lecter, man. I mean, the original Dr. Lecter, Hannibal Lecter, not me. He was stuck in a fucking jail cell with nothing. He didn't even have a pen. He had to steal it. For 8 years, 10 years, yet he manifested miracles from there. I mean, it's about the mind. You have to, he was locked up in a straitjacket, all that, but if you saw Hannibal, the humble beginnings, and, almost got killed, nothing comes easy, is my point, and the degree of sacrifice that is required is not just overlooked and criticized by most. When you sacrifice all that, like, you have to literally sacrifice family, you have to literally sacrifice everything. I mean, and you're forced to in many cases. If you don't, you're simply not going to make it. And it's a very hard thing to do, especially when children are involved, when, any of my 4 girls, I haven't even one of them that's, it's completely finished. The other 3, I rarely see them because, it's not the women that I've had those with. I mean, it's a long story. I don't want to talk about that, but when you hold a newborn baby in your arms, that's at least as a man. Now, women are psychopaths, right? They pop them out just for their own pleasure or their own security. Not pleasure, security, but, and they say that. But for a man, you don't forget that moment. Especially a man like me who never had any intention of having it. And we all know the story. I was conned into it, and then it happened, and I was like, okay, universe's plan, God's plan, I didn't even believe in God back then. And then you sacrifice that, you're forced to, and, blah, 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 we all know the story there. I'm not going to get into it again. And most people just aren't willing to make that amount of sacrifice. Let's get to fitness. Let me ask you, all of you copers, all of you idiots that, he looks like he's 17 years old, 13 years old, 28 years old. That's actually a very good thing. How many fucking MDs, and I mean paper MDs, do you know that look like me? I mean, if they're these great doctors with all these great fucking degrees, shouldn't they be practicing what they preach? Shouldn't they look the part? You go to these motherfuckers, you pay them big money, and they send you for another test, and they send you for another test. They cut your stomach open, if you're a woman, to have, C-sections. They trick the man because he has no idea, and, he doesn't want the kid to die or whatever. They do this to everybody, and, it's all accepted, and these guys are what? What are they? They're fat fucks, for the most part. Who are they? They're nobodies. I mean, yeah, they may have conned their way to some position of so-called power. I look at these doctors, man, I just tell them to their face, you're a fat fuck, get the fuck away from me. I still remember a fucking doctor Uncle Bob once had the same situation. He went to this Indian lady doctor, and he had the flu, and she looked at him like he had the plague, and she wouldn't even look at him to treat him. I once had a problem with my ankle because I was fat at the time. I was genuinely big, but I was also fat. Again, another reason you need to have that shape. I could twist my ankle like this right now, wouldn't even hurt me. I mean, I used to do it falling in sand years ago, and I could barely walk. It's about your weight, you know. It doesn't go on your fucking balls. It goes. I mean, anyway, you know, I've told you that story, dude, in the Middle East. You know, in Hindi I could say it, but in English, basically, what he said was, "It doesn't go on your balls, bruh." And I was like, you know, well, you're fat too, but he wasn't as fat as I guess. You know, he was kind of thick too at that point. But yeah, and right now, and so my ankle, you know, I've got all these health issues, and my ankle, I mean, not health issues, but, you know, tendons, knees, you know, blown out shoulders. Every real doer does, man. Every real doer has physical scars, mental scars, and women love it, actually. Women love that kind of man. I mean, anyway, let's not get sidetracked. But, so my ankle swelled up, and I went to this fucking doctor with a certain somebody. I'm not gonna, but and that motherfucker, he looked at me as when I was taking my socks off, and he was like, "Ugh, get away from me." And I'm like, "What? I'm here to get my foot treated. You gotta take a look at it." And I didn't say that because he was an old fart, and you know, if it was a woman that he said that to, she would slap him on the face. But a man says it, you can't say it. And then, coincidentally or oddly enough, a woman said I was a fucking loser for not telling him to his face. But I couldn't. If I had told him, then, you know, I would have been attacked for being rude. It's like, you know, you can't, this is why, you gotta be a psychopath. If that situation to me happened today, I would slit the motherfucker's throat, either verbally or physically, probably verbally, but I would make sure that son of a bitch remembers me the rest of his life, and he probably still does. If I see him on the road, boy, you bet. If I see that motherfucker on the road, along with Bozo Schofield, I will have him hanging off of a tree. Chuck said it, I'm saying it. I mean, what he did, the pedophilia stuff, is unacceptable. And this guy, I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to teach him a lesson. I'm going to break his MD bones in a very crunchy manner. Anyway, these motherfuckers piss me off, man. But, you know, so I had those issues. And my point is, you know, simple. How many of these MDs do you know that doesn't have health issues? They all have health issues themselves. Who would you rather take advice from? A guy that's nearing 45 years of age? You know, Google asked me my age yesterday because I don't know why everything I'm doing gets attacked and I have to verify, re-verify, get new passports, get new IDs, bloody... I mean, I don't even want all the... I mean, I'm not going to tell you which countries, but I mean, I can't because somebody's going to attack it. But, you know... I mean, all of these re-verifications, it's all an excuse to delay the money, you know. And then if you get at a beyond niche and niche, I'm kind of between niche and math right now. And once you get to a math level, they'll just outright cancel your bank account. And that's happened to me as well. Before I was even an influencer for no reason. You know, and... how many of them do you know with no health problems, no health issues? How many people in general do you know that, you know, 44, 45, and they look like they're 18 years old? I mean, literally, you know, how many? I don't think you know too many. I mean, you know, I could walk straight onto a movie set, and somebody once said, you know, the director would hire you based upon, he'd look at your face. Well, I kind of tailor that statement and say, he would hire me as a 17-year-old or 16-year-old brutal psychopathic killer, right? But he'd just look at me and he'd be like, "Sir, you take the role, you direct the motherfucker, we'll all shut up and listen." You don't believe me? I mean, I say things and then they happen. I'll make it happen. You know, if somebody challenges me, I'll make it happen. But here's the gay part about it. all these people, they keep calling me, movie star, this, that, TV personality. Then you have others that say, oh, but he's not really this, that. Why don't you give me a challenge? Every challenge you've given me, you losers that keep trolling me, for because you'll never, you couldn't. I wouldn't let you fucking like somebody like a Ben Gay shine my fucking feet, or boots, whatever. Yeah, that's another thing. I keep having these faggots walking up to me, sir, can I shine your shoes? I'm like, I'm not even wearing shoes. I'm bare feet and I'm in flip flops. Can't you use your eyes? Okay, maybe you're an idiot. So I tell them this once, twice, thrice. No, they just won't give up. See the video I did about when you succeed, you attract all these sort of losers. You gotta put them in their place very brutally. But uh, so challenge me. I'll make it happen. In fact, I was thinking about it today, and I might do it anyway. You know, challenge me. I mean, I'll be very frank with you. These losers and trolls, Ben Gay. I mean, these guys accuse you of what they are themselves. A very valid and genuine pre-order, and they'll accuse you of, scamming people and all that, and these guys, known scammers that scam people out of millions of dollars, idiots, that is. You can't scam me, man. I mean, I actually got an email, and it's posted on my website, and they actually hang out with this bunch. If it's a direct scam these days, people understand it, so they'll tailor their initial response will be perfectly human, but something was off about it. But I figured let's draw the motherfucker out, Mr. Murray. I'll just say that. Interesting. Murray and Jim. And then the next response he sent was a complete, I got a $10 million blah blah waiting, $22 million waiting for you. I'd like to send it to you if you give me your details. No, sir. Been around the block too many times. Try it with Ben. He'll do it, but not me. But he's a scammer himself, so, Bozo Schofield, and I've provided you proof of him being a scammer, a written fucking proof. Can you ever find any evidence of me scamming anybody? Anybody. Scamming. Not business failures, not business mistakes. I've made plenty of those. I continue to, live and learn. But scamming. Can you find one shred of evidence? You motherfucking losers call me a rapist and pedophile. Can you find one girl, boy, or woman that can back all this shit up? I talk to all these girls. You've seen the screenshots. You've seen, in real life. You've met some in real life if you're, on the Nth channel I just created. Let's just say that. Ask them. Show them what I'm saying. I call them slaves. But go tell them and tell them to, did he actually do anything? Did he actually, or is he just, but you don't do it because you're a faggot. And you're just jealous that I've got the girls. But that's what I'm saying. Fitness-wise, the way I got here, I live on coffee, 35 cups of coffee a day, strong black coffee, Arabian AAA. I don't drink Chianti like Dr. Lecter. This Dr. Lecter is different. He drinks coffee. He used to drink a lot of beer in the past, but I might stop. Sometimes I have it. Sometimes I'll just pick up a bottle of whiskey and swig like that. Hip flask, old gunslinger, cowboy days. You can take the cowboy out of Texas, but you can't take Texas out of the cowboy, mate. You simply can't. Or out of Liverpool, mate. Anyway, most of you want to. Anyway, Liverpool is like rowdy soccer fans, alpha male kind of bullshit. I don't support all that rowdiness. I'm just saying, and alpha, beta, all this is gay. But classifications mean fuck all. But so I live on 35 cups of strong black caffeine, 2 packs of Marlboro Reds a day, sometimes Ultimates, but or sometimes another Marlboro brand, but mostly Reds. They're the strongest. Caffeine and nicotine is magic. Add in no sleep, ultra magic. Add in psychopathy, you get elevated to a level most people will never ever even dream of achieving mentally. And then it all flows, and one meal a day, one massive, big, tigerish meal a day. Quite literally, you can visualize, if you do it right, yourself becoming a tiger, and you can do it. I mean, most people don't want to do it, but fitness wise, that's how I got there. Now, that's a very extreme lifestyle, admittedly, but I got the results. Do you? I mean, and you'll say you don't want the results, which is garbage. If you didn't want the results, why would you train in the first place? Oh, I just want, some results. Okay, let's analyze this. In fact, it doesn't require any fucking analysis. It just requires a brutal question, yes or no. Choice. Life is all about choices. If you had to choose between Super Supreme, choose between, that and Super Supreme and, run of the mill, you may say that you'll choose run of the mill. You may give all kinds of garbage excuses about, you're big and not fat and, justify your empathy and laziness and, cockdom and all that. But the fact of the matter is, everybody wants the shape. Everybody wants to be in solid superlative condition. They just don't want to put in the work, because if you had to choose, you choose. I gave you the example of the WWE wrestlers, some of the biggest guys that weren't, a lot of them weren't especially lean. Like Shawn Michaels, yeah. The Hitman, yeah. To me, that motherfucker has the best physique. I mean, because you look at the Hitman, man. I mean, Steve Austin was a big guy, but the Hitman, you could tell, Steve Austin was just a big dude, right? He but construction work. I mean, Hitman, you look at the way his pecs, and he has that wrestler look about you, thick and solid and X shape, except it was a thick X shape and it was a broad X shape. It's different. I mean, I'm not a pro wrestler. I'm not even a college wrestler, but I've done it before. And you read about the grip and, the unnatural pull to the grip. And I understand that you can tell, But you gotta put yourself through hellfire and brimstone to get those fucking results. Fitness wise, you gotta. Who. Let me tell you one damn thing. When I climbed the hills in China, it's subtropical weather, okay? And I've written about this before. Let's get some H2O. Yeah, oh yeah, I drink 10 liters of water a day. And I would highly recommend everybody, even if you don't do a lick of fitness otherwise, to do the same thing. It'll work wonders for you. Don't listen to fat faggots that tell you it'll lead to water poisoning. There's no such thing. You'll simply either piss it out or, extreme case, puke it out. But it's not going to happen unless you're in a Nazi prison camp where they jump on your stomach for that purpose. Simply not going to happen, man. I mean, you can try it and get back to me. But, yeah, I mean, fitness-wise, and you gotta put yourself, when I used to climb that hill, that weather, 16 inspirational fitness recollections on the website and all my other books I've repeatedly mentioned, the weather was subtropical, and I got this from The Vulture as a Patient Bird by James Hadley Chase, great writer, 1970s, old school Brit, and yesterday I was replying to that troll, and I started with Dear Jim, and I'm like, why am I using dear? Oh, old school Brit. But these days, they'll say you're a faggot if you're doing that, but it's actually how you write emails, dear, It just, old school, pen and paper, where did those days go? The smell of a new book, the smell of a freshly minted book of check leaves. Somehow it's different. Man, I just got one, so, my dad wants one. I mean, That story never ends. It's there on the website. But before I forget, so the weather, it was like, and he mentions this in the book. It was a jungle, subtropical South African jungle. The Zulu hunters were out. And yeah, I'm not going to get into the story, but the weather was like, it rains. And then, before the rain, you're drenched with your sweat. Next minute, it rains, literally downpour. You're drenched in that. The next minute, again, literally, you're drenched in your own sweat because the sun's out. And Kelly, when she saw me doing that in that kind of weather, where all the girls were collapsing, they wouldn't drink water, they were being airlifted off. And me, I'm just going up, and literally it's like I'm showering. Literally, I wrote about this on the website. The maid, one of the maids I was speaking to, she was like, "Did you bathe?" When I was doing my stair climbs and all that, and I'm like, well, I don't see a shower, and, you're not in it with me. Do you want to be? I kind of said it, and indirectly she giggled, but I understood then, because I was literally dripping like a motherfucker. All you fat faggots say doing 50 bear crawls make me drip like a motherfucker. You don't have a clue. You're not even getting close. Your results show. You're gay, you're lazy, you're stupid. But anyway, and that was the kind, I've written about it, like, it literally felt like I was breathing fire. Not just hot breath, not just, raggedy gasps, not just, that kind of thing. Fire, actual fire burning my lungs up. I didn't regard any of that as being an imposition. I did it because I wanted to, but I'm saying that's pretty extreme, and you got to do that. Doing what I did at a certain point when I was that heavy or big or whatever you want to call me, 100 pull-ups daily even then, it was pretty extreme, trust me. And extreme ways have taught me, they've helped me every time. You've heard that Jason Bourne song, oh baby, then it fell apart like it always does. I used to, you've read the story on my website about, the bordello and the thick iron pipe I found. I drilled it in because when I want to do something, I'll do it. China was manufacturing the world's pull-up bars, but you couldn't buy one there. At the time, I couldn't go to Hong Kong due to some silly passport issue or something. And, and then I found one from there. And literally, look at my hands. Look at, they're like a stonemason's hands, according to actual stonemasons who I can outgrip, outlift. And those guys are really, you have this guy, fat man, I can tear phone books. Dude, tearing a phone book, I could do it in my fucking sleep. It's a fucking sleight of hand magic trick that you don't even do right. You have to hold it a certain way and tear it one page at a time. It's easy peasy lemon fucking squeezy. Compared to what these actual laborers do. Try lifting heavy cinder blocks like that. Try moving big ass beds. And try doing that while squatting down and being my size and having the muscle. And, you'll see. You're going to pull your lower back. Guaranteed. But, because you're going to try and muscle your way through it. You're going to do this. No, you're supposed to squat down and do it. And that triggers many people when I do that, because number one, my status, and number two, that I'm not supposed to squat down there, above. And number two, it triggers them even more, the guys. The girls kind of giggle. They don't care. They're like, oh my God, they giggle. But the guys, they're like even more brutally triggered, because they know they're fat and out of shape. They're supposed to be able to do it, but they can't. This is what I mean. You have to win at every fucking aspect, or you're never going to get the rarefied levels at anything, Most people, when you say success, oh, is he a millionaire? Dude, that comes. I'm not even concerned about that. I know exactly when I'm going to buy Bitcoin, when I'm going to, but what am I going to do with it? I'm not into houses or yachts, or you don't have to be. You could be perfectly happy having a lot of money and still living like I do, Oh, I forgot to take my shirt off. Well, let's take it off. How dare I put on my shirt, huh? But anyway, I'm not a faggot that, does AI generated pictures and all this and hiding any part of my body or showing the best parts. The best part is actually my back, but everything about me is so sexy. And I show my back sometimes, just that one pose. Most people have a problem here, guys, and here. I brazenly found it. Because, I got the results. I worked very hard for it, and I got a mark on my back. You know, uh, People are always trying to get me front, back. I'm always, looking here, there. You gotta be like that because in life, in business, you're always being attacked. If you're doing something, you're always being attacked, and you have to always predict an attack. You have to neutralize the threat before it even happens. I mean, because then that's the best way to do it. You know, that is the physical part of it. Let's talk about the mental part of it. The hours you put in, nobody notices the work until you get the results. Although, fitness, again, you lose weight and you get in shape very quickly. I mean, with me, within 2 weeks, my students were noticing. They were like, this guy has really lost weight so much, so quick, and from 120 to 60 kilos, literally. That's what I weigh, 60 kilos soaking wet. But I can kick your fucking ass, and you know it. And, and I'll eat you if I have to. But I'm going to win. But anyway, uh, uh, the mentally doing some of the things I do and some of the things I say, I really mean it. And it's true. It's only a true warrior that will understand it because you have to be a psychopath. You have to completely, if you got to do something that other people don't think is good to accomplish a goal, but how much does that goal matter? If that's the only thing in life that matters, then you're going to kill for it. It's that simple. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean physically kill. It means mentally kill. It's kill the problem, but you're going to kill it. And it's very simple. You can argue etymology and language, and you can argue semantics, but you get my drift. But physically and, fitness-wise, mentally, that part, all the hours, I often used to wonder, why the fuck am I doing this? Why the hell am I've started because of a relationship breaking up. Most guys would have fallen apart completely. For me, I couldn't sit still. I had to do something. And, so I trained, I mean, I had projects going on, web development. I neglected all of that because that's the only thing that kept me sane during that time. I had to train. I had to move physically. And I did that. But that then went away. And then after a while, I was like, why am I doing this? And I'm like, if I'm questioning myself as to why I'm doing this, it hasn't truly sunk down into my subconscious. I forced it. I increased it by an hour. Then in the evening, I increased it. At a certain point, this was my day. Y'all talk about all these girls. Y'all talk about, constantly girls. But I used to wake up at 5:30 in the morning. Until 8:30, I would train on the hill. 8:30 to 9:30, I would come home, get ready for work. 9:30 to 1 o'clock, work. At that time, I used to have 2 meals a day, lunch and dinner. Then I'd had a small box lunch or whatever. 3 to 6, again, teaching or whatever I was doing. Then 6, I'd come home, 6:30. It's like Brooks and 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock, 2 hours of training. After that, I was too exhausted to do anything but sleep. It's like the great Brooks Cubic. Raoul's hill walking workout from China. That's a classic email, man. I wish I had a copy of the original, but I've got it on the Advanced Hill Training page. You'll see it. I mean, I didn't know him but I liked his style, He may not have made it big, but he's real, and I love that. You don't have to make it big to be real. I mean, he's real today, too. You look at the guy, solid, X-shape, wrestler sort of guy, and he was actually a wrestler. And, and at that time, I was working at a factory in China, so it was 5:30 a.m. to sometimes 8, 9, we'd be sitting there, and they used to hammer me a lot because I was earning 4 times what people my age were earning, and, I was in a position of not official authority, but I'm reporting directly to the GM and all that, and so you got to work and you got to justify that. And but I'd come home, Brooks wrote about this. He comes home, he drinks his green tea, and then he's back at the hill. Then it's a medley of body weight. 11:30, my pizza would arrive, and I'd eat it. He didn't mention that. I don't blame him. And then I'd sleep. Next day, 5:30, and I'm still like that. That's what I do. You talk about all these maids and slaves and all this. You focus on this garbage. I mean, a man's got to relax sometime, but I hardly do. I never do. You ever see me relaxing? I'm always amped. I'm always fucking. This is my point. Hellfire and brimstone. I mean, and I give you the example of fitness because most of you idiots watching this video will say, where's the Lamborghini? If he doesn't have a Lamborghini, he doesn't have any money or, some garbage. I mean, those of you that know me, of course, that's different, but you don't have to be, you don't have to follow any set pattern. You're an influencer with XYZ shows, all these fancy. Do you even have any idea how quick AI has progressed? I could be sitting here and I could pay, I could AI manufacture, beautiful blonde Russian Barbies, and you wouldn't know the difference if you're using the right tools. I mean, have you seen Donald Trump's latest video? Some cowboy hat video, 5 Trumps. You can't tell. I could post pictures of mine, I could get some girl like fucking Ben Faggot Gay did, and, his owner, use gussy it up and cut out his bad points and put some nice scenery photography by his yawn. I'm not even a photographer, but she ain't a good photographer, I'll just say that. But I don't care. I'm just saying, I'm being honest. It's honest feedback. You better pass it on, or I'll put it on her page. Not in a bad way, just in an honest manner. But maybe I won't. I don't really care. I don't even know her. But I'm telling you. It's not in tech. It's an honest observation. Photography. You want photography? I'll give you photography, but you got to be willing to pay. But anyway, if you don't pay, you're going to get shit kangaroo angles. You're going to get me. I showcase my weakest points because they're stronger than most of y'all's strong points. It's that simple. I'm sitting here like this, no makeup, no nothing fancy, This pair of shorts, this pair of shorts is like, 9 years old. I still haven't discarded it. Look at Goggins. He's a multi-millionaire, doesn't own a fucking car. You don't have to follow anyone's. You don't have to flash your cars and, Now, some guys, they like flashing their cars, they're into that, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's their version of success. I could flash my girls. Sometimes I'll post pictures, whatever. I could, but to me, social media is completely fake, man. You got to do it in real life. Most of y'all don't do it in real life. You LARP on Twitter. You LARP on social media, Hellfire and Brimstone, Fitness-wise, that's it. That's an example. Business-wise, to really succeed at something, despite all the attacks, despite your income being taken away, you have to become a cold-blooded psychopath with no regard for... You could be outflanked, out-attacked, but you gotta have that belief, and it's only if you truly want it. How much do you truly want it, is my question. If you truly want something, the universe will literally move away. You'll manifest even the right amount of... Because the more hate you manifest, the more... People think I hate. But I don't hate, I troll. I never even use the word hate, because I don't. And along with death, because I don't. But let's just use it for now. The more hate you generate in one corner of the universe, an equal and opposite thing happens where you generate unexpected extreme love in other parts of the universe. Why do you think I can parade around calling these women slaves and all that? Because I do a lot for them. I just don't brag about it, and it's not got to do with money, That's the last thing, You'll understand if, I'm a traditional patriarch, man, like a feudal mindset or whatever, people call me, men lead, women nurture, but it doesn't mean that they're, doesn't mean, anything bad, or, I may use certain terms because if I just say, employee, nobody's going to notice it. If I say slave, which is essentially the same goddamn thing, everybody will notice it. And so, it's just terminology, it's semantics, Um, and you have to put yourself, nobody sees the toil, the attacks, the endless lights. I haven't slept comfortably one night despite getting all the foot rubs and all the, whatever, pedicure, rub down the way, or whatever food, whatever it is. I haven't slept peacefully, or I would say fully. It's in like, I don't know, since probably 2000 and I don't know, 2016, 17, I don't know. Then it just increases. You'd think now that I'm at a certain level and I could take it easy, but I'm not. I'm going even harder. You'd think that, fitness wise, I'm going even harder. Financially, that's, always on the up. Even when it's down, it's on the up. Unexpected money just shows up, quite literally. I realize you won't believe it, but what I once told my mom, I just shake a tree and money falls out. And it does. Don't believe me. But I got money plants, and they're called that in my bank app, which, by the way, I've been saying this for the past 2 decades. This is just a new app that they came out with, and they call it that. you know, uh, my thing is, girls-wise, I haven't, you know, you think I just take it easy, but I can't. There's so much more to do, man. Life is so beautiful. You get one shot at it. Again, it all boils down to that one question. Are you willing to put yourself through what it takes to, let's be honest. Everybody wants to be extremely sexy, handsome, charming, intelligent. Why wouldn't you? Can you give me a good reason without no attacking, no trolling? Logical reason. Why wouldn't you? Answer, you would. That's why those are positive traits. You may not need it, you may not, but you'd want it. Everybody does. Who can say they don't, especially as a man or a woman, want all that? Everybody wants it. People aren't honest about what they really want, and everybody wants it. And you ask people what they want, oh, money. They think, what's money going to do? Money is just energy. If you can't get girls, you may get money somehow, but it's going to fly away, and the girls will take it from you, and they'll pay me with it. It's that brutal. It's that simple. Hellfire and brimstone, but people don't see the hellfire and brimstone part, the sacrifice. It's not easy, let me just tell you, losing relationships with, you have to cut friends out, you have to cut family out, and, you have valid reasons for doing so, perfectly valid and logical, but it's not easy, especially when there are people you've known since you're growing up, and there are people, you don't forget holding a newborn, cuddly little bear in your arms. You never forget that, man. You don't. I realize, a lot of my trolls, Bozo Schofield, probably sterile, like Ben Gay, and a lot of them don't even have kids, but they think they're qualified to parrot some line the feminists taught them, about parenting, which they've never done, and they couldn't do. They'd be fucking pathetic at it if they did it. In fact, this guy, he won't even take care of his ex-wife's or his owner's, whatever, kid, because he's financially unable to, one, but number two, he doesn't want to, and he talks about all this grade A hypocrite. He's got, he's on the list of all the scammers and all that. Scammers are contacting me, trying to scam me based upon, his scamming. And I'm not even going to tell you the people he scammed. This is why he's been fired by everybody in the fitness industry, because there's always a hidden angle. There's always something he's trying to get for free. He's a sneaky bastard, is what he is. You can tell from his pictures, you can tell from that vibe, and extremely sneaky bastard, and, everybody picks up on that. Nobody likes a snake. Not a snake like me. I only strike when it's necessary and do the right thing, but he does the wrong thing, and his results show. You know, um, that's why he's been fired. And I could tell you, I mean, he's not quite at the level of both Schofield is a successful scammer. This guy isn't even successful at that. He tries, but he can't. He's just too stupid, man. I mean, what would you think of a guy that jumps off a cliff and says, let's see if I land on wet sand or dry sand? Dude, you gotta be a fucking idiot, a pansy, a bozo, a moron to do that. You know, you're going to break your legs if you jump off of a cliff. Then you whine about it was so painful. Well, duh, of course. It'll be painful. I mean, what do you expect? What did you expect? Did you not even think? I mean, it's not paragliding, which is gay anyway, because there's a small percentage of you, that damn thing, parachute not opening. But what do you think you are? What you identify as now? A fucking bird? I mean, he literally identifies as a bird. Where's the logic? Where's the common sense? Where's the, any of that? Hellfire and Brimstone, and you literally have to put yourself through hell and beyond to get to where you want to be. I could literally stop eating tomorrow. I'd still train extremely hard for weeks on end, and I've done it. It's not easy, let me tell you. It's not just about feeling hungry. It's not just about, and most people, this actor had to do it for a role, and he was all skin and bones. Like, this became completely sunken because he was playing the role of a prisoner in a POW, during the British era. Andaman and Nicobar Islands, that was a brutal prison. He was playing a prisoner, imprisoned there. It was brutal, man. The nose to the grindstone exercise I do, they literally made them work like oxen, literally, on a diet of I don't know, a bowl of piss a day, Basically, that's what it was. They called it soup, but it was brutal, and you could see, it was like a Nazi concentration camp, except nobody talks about it because it's politically incorrect to say that the British did things like that, but they did. And, but I'm not... Indians do it too. To their own kind. Everybody does it. I'm not saying white, black, any color, but he, you look at him, he literally, his sister was a doctor, is a doctor, and she was worried. She was like, oh my God, with me, that's not it. A guy like Sylvester Stallone, he literally said, he had no energy, with his extreme, which he said later was very unhealthy. But with me, you don't see any lack of energy, do you? You don't see any lack of enthusiasm, do you? You don't see any physical anything, do you? And I put myself through more than those guys do, because I started out at a much lower level. I have to constantly work very hard. Nothing has ever come easy for me. Nothing ever will. And you know what? I wouldn't want it. Everything... Let me tell you one thing. When you work for years to get to a certain position, the satisfaction you have, the confidence you get, hellfire and brimstone, you want to work for 10 more years again. Quite literally. You want to go through all that again. I'm not saying the nasty stuff, but, that is the point. Most people, everybody, all these buzzwords, persistence, belief in yourself, willpower. We all talk about all this. Believe in yourself. But if you truly believe in yourself, you're going to push yourself to the max limit possible, beyond what is thought commonly humanly possible. You're going to do it without nobody watching you. You're going to be training extremely hard when nobody cares or watches or laughs or whatever. You may not see the results for years, but you're going to keep doing it. You're going to keep doing it. After you get the results, if you truly got it, you're going to amp it. You're going to get more results. Then you're going to amp it. You're going to get more results. I can't emphasize enough the hellfire and brimstone part, and God will put exactly the right people in your life that you need. And people complain about trials and tribulations. Do you ever see me complaining about getting banned, about getting, attacked all over the place, about all these heinous allegations spread about me that I'm a pedophile, I'm this, I'm that, blah, 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 blah. Do you see me complaining? Factually, I'll tell you, and I'll dissect it very logically and professionally, but do you see me complaining and whining, oh my God, me? Do you see that? Can you point out one instance? I'm like, bring it. Go attack me. Attack more. And I'll win. Uh, Literally, this guy Schofield in China, he had this meme of me going around where there was this white cowboy and there was me, and the white cowboy pulls the gun out and he literally shoots. Basically, he was saying, we don't want no hombres any hombres, the right way to pronounce it in Spanish, in our like yo Watto, he's dead, was basically what he was saying. And he was spreading that trope, and I was like, okay, let's see how far he can go. And he went brutally far. That guy is nutty, he's crazy, and he's in the asylum now. Who won? All a few idiots that report the videos and all, who ultimately wins? I mean, I get it, unbanned, and channel get banned. I start another one. I mean, most people, believe me, the amount of work that I put into a lot of my, into my Amazon, into my Google, Google never gave me up, but into a lot of this, which then just got banned, inaccessible. More than 5,000 videos on the old channel, inaccessible. Now I have backups, but the live shows, live workouts, I don't, and I can't do it on these channels because, right now I'm shadow banned. Back then, too, I was, just not at that level. Now AI knows I'm creating new accounts, and, so they just blanket shadow ban everything I do, which is why it's all on my website. I could do live shows on my website, I guess, but I mean, so it's all inaccessible. It was all great stuff, good stuff. Even my trolls, they used to tell me, you got some good stuff, and, you have no idea. Most people would just give up. They just burst into tears, all those years of hard work. I know a guy who he spent literally months on end writing 14 hours a day to get better at writing, and, articles and all that. This was way back in 2010. One fine day, Google implements Penguin, not save the Penguin bullshit, but the Penguin rule, and all those articles that were giving him great traction, all that work, it disappeared like this, in a chutki, in a trice, It just did, and he lost all that work. It's still gone. I mean, but that's the sacrifice. That's true hellfire and brimstone. Think about this. If you're working that hard and you're putting your life and soul into something repeatedly for years. The great author, Greg David Roberts, the guy, Shantaram, if you read the book, it's a great book. Greg David Roberts, he loves India for some reason, I don't know, but he doesn't live there, so I don't know if he really likes it, but he he's real, and he literally wrote that manuscript of it. It's a book this thick, man, and it's brutal, it's visceral, it's very real. I love it. I still have it. The prison guards tore it apart when he was almost like imagine a book this thick, so the printing is like this, and so imagine the manuscript was like this probably. When he reached about this much, they tore it apart, and then he started again. He reached this much, they tore the motherfucker apart, put him in solitary. He started again. Imagine the drive somebody must have had to, keep going. Business is the same. Look at Donald Trump. The amount he's been through, man. Does he even look like an 80-year-old? To me, I mean, he doesn't. I mean, he's fucking Energizer Bunny, man. And, that's me, man. I mean, all that Amazon work, all those books, all that. I mean, I can't get any of that back at this point. All the videos I can. But we started again. Then we got attacked again. YouTube. Then we got shadow banned. Now, we're doing this. And, multiple backups and all that. But I'm sure somebody will someday find a way to attack those too. My backups have gotten attacked, I lost, but luckily I had a backup of a backup of a backup. So the fourth one wasn't attacked, and so I rebuilt from there. It was like, in Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, they write about, I can't remember Macy's, or not Macy's, but some department store, well known. In the 1950s, the guy's store burnt down, and the guy was like, All the other business owners, it was the depression. The guy was like, "Gentlemen, you see that smoldering ruin right there? I am going to rebuild this department store there, right?" And as if it never happened, within 10 years, he had a chain of them, and he did it. And you look at somebody like Edison, laboratory burns down, and he's like, "Oh yeah, okay, that happened." You move on. You have to be a cold-blooded psychopath to try 10,000 times at something, and 10,000 and first time you voila, you know that's the kind of psychopathy I talked about. Single-minded fucking devotion. I was talking about this with my buddy the other day: devotion versus dedication, or devotion versus worship, and it's a very interesting topic. A husband is truly devoted, or a wife is truly devoted to, or whichever, the other one. Devotion, as in the West, is a goal oriented thing. In Eastern cultures, it's a spiritual kind of thing. So if you say Messi is devoted towards football, if you were really to delve deep down into the Eastern mystical, he's not really devoted. I can't find the English word for it. He's striving for it because he's always doing his best. In the West, you call that devotion because that's goal-based devotion. In the East, devotion is you just do it without devoid of any emotion. It stops mattering. You just do it because you do it. And nothing sexual, nothing, no emotion, That's the level of psychopathy you need to. I'm not saying don't have goals. I'm extremely goal oriented, but and that's in itself is a very difficult goal. You have to be at a very high level mentally to really remove all external. That's the level of psychopathy. You have to be at to really. When I tell people, what are your results? They give me all this gay garbage, or they just get angry. Then I point out their results or their complete lack thereof, and I very logically point out my gains, my everything. Wow. And, it's going to be another long night tonight, I can tell. And, these guys, they just sit around and, and then I tell them, like Harding, former friend, sort of like a customer, whatever, but we did some business together, and he was like, "You can say what you like about Raul, but he's got the wins on the board." I mean, it shows, and it's an actual statement, it shows. This guy's confidence, it shows. I mean, it doesn't just come. You have to, there has to be a reason. You have to have that belief. You have to, but all of these things are buzzwords. People don't really understand the meaning of persistence. They don't understand the meaning of, sexual transmutation, the importance of not spreading your seed via little pee-pee jerking, the importance of not watching porn, the importance of, self-belief and what it truly entails. All of these things, though, there's other people that really talk about it, but not at a deep level. But what I am really emphasizing, at the end of the day, action is where the rubber meets the road. It's that simple. And you have to put yourself through extreme things to really achieve the results you want. My point is simple: hellfire and brimstone. And I literally mean that. Now, I literally don't mean, fire as in you jump onto a funeral pyre or something. But I mean, you gotta work extremely hard. You can never let your foot off the gas. There's always somebody willing to take your place, I don't know. That's really the central reason. I mean, when you really have that burning goal, and I have so many right now, a fitness thing I never had a goal to be an influencer. It just happened along the way. People have always said you're very ambitious and want to make a lot of money and all that, but to me, it was never about money. It was about freedom. It still is. And in those regards, I still have tons and tons of goals. I can't sleep at night. It's like I've done nothing in my life, even though I've done so much. I mean, but I can't rest on my laurels because it'll get taken away. Anything easy, I'll just end with this, gets taken away, okay? Every time I've, gotten let's just say money or success or whatever in an easy manner, and not even 100% easy manner, even if 1% of it was easy, mysteriously down the line it was taken away. Now, I was told by an idiot that it had astrological reasons. No, that's all garbage. It got taken away because that 1% was easy. And for a true warrior, which is what was meant to be, uh, nothing is meant to come easy. You get huge rewards, but you make huge fucking sacrifices. If the sacrifice part is not there, you're not going to get a fraction of the reward. It's that simple. But if you really want to win the war, and not just a minor battle, then you have to. And then I analyzed all those, and I was like, where am I going wrong? I was still working very hard. I was training. And then I got it. The things I was doing were extremely easy. I mean, everything that I've done that's lasted despite attacks and all, nobody around me, family, anybody that I know actually has done it. And I mean, I don't talk about it, but those are the kind of things I've always wanted to do, something exceptional. This is why people have always called me exceptional, even when there was nothing to back it up because the mentality was there. And it's, you're exceptional, Rahul. Read about it on my website and all that. The search feature is the most heavily used because of all the controversy and people love reading about that, even if they're faggots that won't actually buy. That's okay. You can read about it, but it's and I posted this screenshot of my views and today on my site, and you gotta put yourself through a lot, man. You gotta put yourself through hellfire and brimstone. Nothing easy ever lasts. Money, relationship, fitness, none of it. It doesn't last. It's hellfire and brimstone that actually works. In life. Nothing comes easy is one thing, but nothing that does come easy ever lasts. I mean, a lot of times the universe will test you. It'll give you easy money. It'll give you easy this, but it doesn't last. It just doesn't last. Down the line, you lose it. But if it's a steady burn over to the point where at a point, I lost. I mean, I was talking about this to a friend the other day, and I can't feel emotion anymore. Literally. I mean, if I fight somebody, it's like, he hits me and this, I got in a, it was a quick jab to your chest like this, snake's eye, I can't do it sitting up, but, I mean, shoulders in and all that, elbows in and all that, but, and it stings. It's like, whack. It's not a thwack where you're hitting through the chest. It's a sting kind of a thing that hurts, But I remember in my mind when I felt that, I registered the pain, but it didn't hurt. It didn't. I mean, I just kept going, and that's psychopath level. And this is why I keep saying, tendons and all this. It doesn't matter. You just keep going. I don't care if you haven't eaten, if you don't have any money. I don't care what you just keep going. And you get here. Look at what Trump did, Oh, this is my old Trump mug today. My slave probably had the idea to give me the old one today. I don't know. If I told her she better drink from a Trump mug too, or I'm going to whack her. And I think she is. We'll see. But she's not supposed to use the same utensils as I and all that. And I'm like, I don't give a shit. But anyway, you have to put yourself through hellfire and brimstone to get to where you want to be. Nothing worth having comes easy. If it does, it's just a test. Let's assume you get it easy, okay? Somehow, all these crypto teenage millionaires or billionaires, what do they know about life? Nothing. I could walk up to them on the road, steal their hardware wallet. One knockout, they know nothing about life. I'm not saying don't have crypto. You need crypto, but I'm saying it's easy money. However, money that you earn after years and years of slog at a point where you become impervious to any sort of attack, emotion, anything at all. People say I change emotions on a dime. You know something? I feel nothing when I do. I mean, it's not. I mean, I've always been a very good actor, and maybe I'll show you some examples of that. I recently auditioned for something. But I'm not supposed to show it. But I can't resist. But I'll see. But I don't know because it's business. But maybe I will. But maybe I won't. But manic, depressive, And when I'm saying all these things, I don't feel anything. Do you get my drift? Like people will feel something, then they'll think of something. I could think of the most gruesome things or the most nicest things. I could have, a fucking a woman here. I'd enjoy it, but I wouldn't. That's what you call a deep level of meditation done in a different manner. You reach a level where it truly stops mattering. Most people don't even get close. They'll just say, oh, it doesn't matter. But then they'll go home and think about it. Red pill guys, oh, girls don't matter, this, that. They'll go home and jerk off. So they do matter. I mean, very simple examples, Why wouldn't girls matter? I mean, are you fucking gay? Uh, are you Harry Sisson? I mean, yeah. When you truly reach that point where nothing matters, nothing, the world could fall apart, but you're still moving ahead. And you're not moving ahead out of any compulsion. It's just you. I mean, and that is what you call truly walking through hellfire and brimstone and not letting it bother you because you want more. You welcome more. I don't need to call out all these trolls just to make money, man. That's gay. I mean, yeah, I have profit trolls so I can teach other people, but I do it to generate. When I don't have hate coming in, I feel kind of antsy. I don't, Emerson wrote about this in his Laws of Compensation, that he would rather barbed arrows and slings than honeyed words of praise, because with the latter, there's always an attack around the corner that you're unaware of. With the former, and this is what I spoke about, hate and love, with the former, you're getting that there, but then what's around the corner is gratitude, bouquets of roses, figuratively. So he said that, laws of compensation, that's just how it works. So I actively do not try and make anyone like me. I am very brutally honest, and I just keep upping the level. And if I get attacked for something like, I said, women are slaves, my slaves, or whatever, and I just grab them and all that, then I don't just say, I just don't amp a verbal campaign on that. I do it in real life. I do more of it, and I brag about it very openly to the very people that hate it. So they can keep hating me more. They can't sleep. I mean, this guy, Fat Boy Ben, can't sleep. I have nightmares. I have nightmares, but, he has these strange, nightmarish thoughts, and I'm always there. I mean, he says, he uses this term he copied off of a woman living rent-free. It's not living rent-free. I can feel your emotions switching wildly from and I play you like a fucking bent piano, big fat fucking piano, and nasty legs, and whatever, like a fucking granny with thick legs. So I don't know, but I get inside people's minds, man. I'm very hard to ignore, impossible to ignore. I did a video on that yesterday. Got it any which way you like. You can't really argue with results. If you want to, then let's have a logical discussion on any result under the sun that you want to have. Any meaningful result. Meaningful. Okay? Real things. Not just crypto millionaires at 17. Not everybody wins the fucking lottery. And Goggins said this too, I believe. Not the idea. I think it was. Yeah, Goggins, but yeah, he not the crypto thing, but he said, you could have won the lottery, that's great, but most of us, we have to grind brutally, and, That's what it is. Look at what that guy put himself through for how many years. Nobody noticed him. Nobody gave a shit. 20 years, nobody knew who he was. Then what happened? You have to force the universe into giving you what you want. And the way you do that, beyond all the other buzzwords, is repeated, brutal hellfire and brimstone. And you gotta not just be willing to walk through them. I could talk all day about it, but I gotta go now because it's like, fuck, it's been an hour. I talk your ear off, but I'm right, but there's a reason. Hellfire and brimstone, you gotta be welcoming it, because the more hellfire and brimstone you actively attract, manifest, and work, not just attract, manifest, work to generate. I work ceaselessly to generate hate from even the smallest hater, ceaselessly. Because there's always a huge amount of haters, and that hate multiplies, multiplies, multiplies. I take that energy, and then I kill them, and then I take all that energy in, and I channel it into that other part of the universe where there's nothing but good. And guess what happens? Good things. Very good things. Hellfire and brimstone. Be not just willing to walk through them, but be willing to welcome them with open arms, and roses. Satan shall be yours. Dr. Habib Lecter, MD. See y'all later. P.S. Bodyweight exercise guru, Habib Lecter, movie star, TV personality. Just so you know, every one of these things is what people call me, not what I merely repeat. So if I say, you look like you need to fast for a year to lose all that blubber, it isn't me saying it, although I knew it before. I'm a nice guy. I don't always say these things to people because you're a guy with a pansy. But the customer doesn't know you're a pansy. And you gotta be honest. And I just repeat that. Try that one on for size, fat boy. Fat boys and girls. Junk in the trunk. See y'all later. I gotta bang some junk right now. I'll talk about that later.